All right, so you're on the border between Burma and India, and the name of the town, is that the Imphal? Is that
Yes.
where you were?
Yes.
Okay, Kohima.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, I want more detail from you on this part, Pa. So the Japanese are coming, and you know it. Is that right?
We patrolled the Chinwin River for several months before they did come,
Okay.
and it was my privilege to have spotted Japanese crossing the river and was able to report it before I got my neck broke in time. And the Japanese didn't get very far into India, thanks to the speed with which the British Army transferred divisions from other parts of the country and they stopped the Indians. Otherwise, India was they could have taken India just like that.
So they're coming across the river. The British are responding with the Indian troops,
Well,
and the battle. Is that where the Battle of Imphal and Kohima started there?
yes, the Japanese were able to cross the river. We didn't have enough troops to stop it from crossing it. But we could have, the Americans got into it by this time. And they were sending aircraft every day checking to make sure that you could easily see it from the air.
Okay.
The Japanese didn't have any airplanes to speak of. The only one they did have got shot down in a very short time.
So, how long from this point was it before you got into the battle where you got hurt?
Well, the Japanese decided that in the meantime it brought a lot of extra troops into Burma, and we knew they were getting ready to attack. All we could do is stop the best we could at the river, and if not, to withdraw to the place where we could stop. And if you try to do that, you have to weave through mountains. You know, you could stop anywhere and stop a division of the, just from walking up the path because there was jungle on every side. So we took up position, and Japanese came and got their heads bitten off.
Well, tell me more about the day that you got shot.
Well, I don't know whether you want to hear all this crap, but well, we were back in very close to Imphal itself. We were the reserve division for a while. Other people took care of the front line. We'd been in the front line practically from the beginning, so we were sort of semi-resting status. But one day we hear that the Japanese have gone on a different route to the way we'd taken to get back to into India. So we got the orders to take my company and attack them. We proceeded to at least, we got out, we were all running on the edge of a hedge, a great big hedge, and we all lined up. And then we danced, you know, and we all danced just like we did in the old days, you know. And everybody was told to don't bunch up, just spread us out far from one another. We don't want one machine gun to take out 20 people because they were all gathered together in infantry, you know. So we just spread out over 100 yards, according to the book. And they just happened to spot me. They were wearing, Indians wouldn't wear helmets against their religion, it's the Hindus. So they had the things that they tie around their heads. Because I, being an officer, crap, I had a helmet on me. And they hit me. I got shot.
So, prior to you getting shot, there was already an exchange of fire,
Beginning, yes.
and was it all rifle fire? Did you guys have mortars or artillery support at all?
No. We did have machine guns helping on the side.
And you were attacking in company size or
company size.
just a company size?
Left out of his trenches and started walking on the paddy field. The dry paddy field is where they grow rice. Is a paddy field is a place where they grow rice.
Right.
Winter it's dry, but in summer it's sopping wet and you can't even cross there. Well, it was the dry season. We wouldn't have done it otherwise. I just started dancing along there, and all of a sudden I felt like something had happened. And I recognized that I'd been shot. So
Okay, so do you remember the impact? Do you remember pain? Do you remember getting knocked out? What happened?
I remember there was very little pain. While they were carrying me across the jungle to get into a safe place, they sent out a squad of people to pick me up.
How long were you on the ground before they came out?
Probably 20 minutes, something like that.
Okay, so the battle's still going on around you.
They continued on and let me behind do that.
Okay, so they moved you to a safe place on the perimeter of this battle.
Yes.
Then what happened?
They stuck me, medicos decided to put me in a military encampment where there was a great hospital in a big tent.
But that wasn't right there on the battlefield with you.
It was
That
some way back.
how did you get from the battlefield to
In a
the?
truck.
How long did that take?
Maybe an hour or two.
And had they at the battlefield site where you were being treated by the medics? Did they give you plasma, morphine?
Everything you could think of.
Okay, now
They
were you in
created-
pain yet at
they-
all?
They didn't have places where they could operate tables and all that. So what did they do? They dig two trenches parallel to one another. The land between was the medical table. That's where I was operating.
Field expedient. Okay, so they operated on you right there at the edge of the battlefield?
To some extent.
Do you know what they did there?
They moved bullets.
And was this a British doctor or an Indian doctor or just a field medic? Do you know?
I think it was an Indian doctor.
Okay.
Very good doctor. Nothing wrong with Indian doctors. They're damn good.
Were you conscious for most of this?
No, they knocked me out with something.
Okay. So then from that point, after they stabilized you, you got moved back to the field hospital by ambulance or truck.
Eventually found out they decided I was useless anyway. I was recovering rapidly. And I was all set to go back in there because they were about to invade Burma.
Well, hold on.
But unfortunately they decided that why put a poor guy through it twice when once is enough. So
Just describe your injury.
they took advantage of the experience I had gained by being attached to my regiment where I could train newcomers
Okay.
to the
I want
truth of
I want to interrupt you and have you back up to your injury, Pa. Describe your injury.
injury.
Were you in pain? At some point, you had to be in pain.
Well, I had a big, it knocked me out here.
Where did the
I had a
bullet?
big scar
Where did the
there.
bullet hit you?
The bullet hit me in the chest.
Okay, so the bullet fractured, and was it a piece of the bullet went in your chin, or was it a different bullet that hit you in the chin?
I know.
Okay.
The bullet stayed there for a while until later on. They decided later to remove the bullet
The one in your chest or the one in your chin?
out of my chest.
Okay. So that came later. So you had a chest wound. It didn't penetrate your lung. Did it penetrate your lung, Pa?
Yes, a little bit.
Do you still have your lung?
Yeah.
They took some out, though.
I think it's a little less in it than the other lung
Okay, so you lost a rib, part of your lung.
section.
Okay, had a piece of bullet in your chin. And don't you have something else in your arm and your foot?
Well, they keep popping out. That was the other thing. Bits of metal would pop out.
Okay.
So you never know where it's likely to pop out.
Okay, so what's left in you here 70 years later?
7 years later.
70. 70 some
Well,
years later. What do you have in you now?
I was made fit enough at least to go back to headquarters and help train soldiers for
okay.
our regiment. And we could see that the adversary, the Japanese, were withdrawing from Burma. It looked as if we were going to, the Americans coming in to help beat the Japanese. They decided going for India was not a good idea, so they retreated back to Burma. I would love to have chased them down there, but being in a tent, lying on my back, recovering from this thing, kept me there. I couldn't go up.
Was that pretty much the end of any combat for you?
Yes, as far as I was concerned.
So you went into a recovery and training type thing
Training.
until the end of the war in India?
No, I think they sent me back a little earlier than that. They got a air transport. It become a big thing by that time.
So you flew back to England.
Flew back.
Do you remember on what aircraft or who flew
Wait a
you?
minute. I flew back part of the way. I think I flew to Cairo or somewhere and picked up a ship there, came out through the Mediterranean, arrived in Southampton.
Okay, back to your injuries, Bob. What's today, after having such a grievous injury, here you are at 101 years old. You still have metal in you from that.
It doesn't bother me anymore. They've been all a little piece.
But you can't take an MRI because
they
of it.
would pop out for a while. And I go down to the local doctor. They would just take it away. This way. Shrapnel, I think they call it.
But you still have some in you, don't you?
They do, but it doesn't hurt.
Okay. Because you can't do an MRI because of it.
MRI, what's that stand for?
Magnetic resonance imaging. The big magnet.
I always warned them. They could see it. They could always take
X-rays.
X-ray. Yeah. It was probably still see little bits of shrapnel.
Did you keep in contact with any of your pals from the war afterwards?
Best I could, because I was in hospital for a long time.
How long were you in the hospital?
Military hospital, probably about 3 months, 4 months.
And then?
Then they sent me back to their headquarters in northern India. And when my time come for having spent enough time in India, British condescended to send me back to Britain, which I reported myself to Bombay. And there was the ship, get on the ship, and we came back through the Mediterranean,
Okay.
which was more exciting than all the rest of it put together, because you never knew when the goddamn ship was going to be torpedoed. And we had
This is 1944 or 45?
towards the end of the war, I can't remember the dates.
Okay. So you showed up in Southampton. Then
Yeah,
what?
There was my brother and my aunts and my uncles. And I decided, and the war finally finished, and my father, brother, who had an insurance company, manager of an insurance company up in Glasgow, he volunteered to get me a job up there.
This was Bruce that did that?
Pardon?
Bruce?
No, it was older Bruce. Bruce, in the meantime, desperately tried to convince himself.
Wait a minute. Hold it. You had another brother?
Just one brother,
Bruce.
yeah,
So who's the insurance agent?
insurance agent.
You just telling me somebody was selling insurance. Who was that? Your uncle?
Yes, he was the insurance agent.
Okay. All right. I understand now. But you didn't want to sell insurance. You went back to the
No
charter
way-
bank.
No way I was going to sell insurance. So, yeah, I got it.
That's where I got it from. I
I
hate
wouldn't-
insurance.
I I worked in a bank for a while,
Okay.
Glasgow. Crummy job. Crummy surroundings, generally crummy. And I wanted to stay in that place as long as I possibly could. But the railway station was next door to it. I'd go home at night time, spend nights with my uncle, who was in a very nice house. Bridget Weir was the name of the place. A very nice town.
Okay, so the war was over. You had been discharged at this point, right?
Yes.
And you went in as a second lieutenant, and you came out as a what?
Temporary major.
As a temporary major. What does a temporary major mean?
Well, if I'd been in a regular army, they'd have made me a major. But I wasn't a regular guy at all. I was a temporary.
So you went in because of the war. That's
I
why you were
went
considered
because of the
temporary.
war, not for any other reason.
Okay. So that was
I was lucky to have a job to get back to, I'll tell you.
back to the charter bank.
Yeah. And a chartered bank is one of those banks that has branches all over Asia and South Africa. We never knew which one we'd end up in.
Right.
So happened that they picked Manila for me, which was a great joy because it's being run by the Americans.
Okay.
And,
Hold that thought for 1 second.